organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Tonight on the top of the hour, underage drinkers and bar owners, how police catch the lawbreakers next.
And escaping the warmth, learn the fate of one popular homeless shelter next.
And in sports,
we have a recap from the Iowa women's tennis match last weekend.
All this coming your way next.
You're watching Daily Iowan TV. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Hannah Thompson.
And I'm Blake Jorgensen. Several downtown bars are feeling the brunt of serving alcohol to underage persons. Mitch McAndrew is standing by in the newsroom with our top story of the night.
Thanks, guys. Earlier this month, 6 local businesses were caught red-handed selling alcohol to minors. 3 bars and 3 convenience stores failed compliance checks conducted by local police, though it was not the police themselves doing the checking.
Local police said the checks are actually carried out by volunteers, usually students recruited from Kirkwood Community College's criminal justice program.
The individual goes in and uses their normal ID, and they don't, despite some of the myths that are out there, they don't use fake IDs, they don't lie about their age or instruct not to lie about their age, they're instructed to be in total compliance with the expectations that are set.
These undercover minors were sold alcohol at Bo James, Shorts Burgers and Shine, and the Airliner, despite showing an invalid ID. But while police say that there are always a few businesses that fail to comply, they also say that failing the checks is the exception, not the rule.
We're not trying to sting despite the myth. It's more, like I said, we're just ensuring that everybody's in compliance. And quite frankly, most bars do a fairly good job of making sure that their staff and their employees are well educated and are vigilant in their own inspections of IDs and so forth.
Those businesses that fail to comply face stiff civil and administrative sanctions. The first violation brings a $500 fine or a 14-day suspension of the liquor license. The second, a $1,500 fine and a 30-day suspension. The third, a $1,500 fine and a 60-day license suspension. And the fourth, total revocation of the liquor license. The police say that further compliance checks could occur yet this year. Back to you guys at the desk.
President Obama used his veto power for the first time in 5 years today. He rejected a proposal to start building the controversial Keystone XL pipeline. The proposed pipeline would run from Canada to the Gulf of Mexico. Republican leaders say Congress say the pipeline would create a number of U.S. jobs, but opponents say the environmental risks aren't worth it. Now Congress can override the president's veto with a 2/3 vote.
Iowans' wallets will soon feel a pinch from gas prices. That's because today the Iowa legislature approved a 10-cent state fuel tax. Both the Senate and House approved the tax, which will provide over $200 million annually for Iowa's bridges and roads. The 10-cent gas tax will add to increasing prices at the pumps. Gas prices around the state are averaging $2.25.
The terror group ISIS has kidnapped nearly 100 Christian Assyrians this morning from northeast Syria villages. Men, women, and children are among the abductees. Nearly 700 families managed to escape ISIS takeover, but they are surrounded by fighting and face potential massacre. Refugees are staying in St. Mary's Cathedral in Al-Hasaka, Syria.
Help for the homeless in Iowa City is staying around. The temporary emergency homeless shelter on South Gilbert Street in a previous Aldi's building will stay open for an additional 2 weeks in March. Originally, though, the popular shelter was only planned to stay open from December to February. However, despite the popularity and shelter from below freezing temps, the Iowa City Shelter House Director Mark Sether says it will close on March 14th.
And still to come tonight, what do vegetarians think of food options here on campus? We take a look next.
And in sports, we're talking Hawkeye, wrestling, and tennis. Guys, it was a lot warmer today. I actually saw a kid wearing shorts on the way to class today.
Ooh, I don't think he's going to be able to do that for very much longer.
I was going to say, I still have my heat cranked all the way up. Tanner, what can we expect from this week's forecast?
Well, speaking of heat, this morning I started my car, cranked on my heat, and nothing. No heat whatsoever. Rushed to get it fixed because tomorrow we have lots of snow in the forecast. Here's what you need to know going into tomorrow. We're going to see a high of only 22 degrees, and around 10 in the morning it's going to start snowing, a 90% chance of snow, and it's going to run all day. As it gets later, the more the snow is going to fall. We could collect around 3 inches of snow in the afternoon. And it's going to continue throughout the night, so expect to wake up Thursday and see lots of white. Now looking at your extended forecast, temps are going to drop Thursday and Friday with only a high of 13 degrees, setting us up for a snow-filled weekend. Just take a look at Saturday through Monday. We are expecting good chances of snow all those days, but at least the temps those days will be back up into the high 20s. You know it's cold when we get excited about 20 degrees. So there you have it. That's all I have from the weather studio. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Tanner. Vegetarian and vegan students are becoming more popular on the University of Iowa campus, helping account for the 23.8 million in the U.S. Campus dining facilities are said to offer a wide variety of options for these students, but many are having difficulties finding options that fulfill their nutritional needs. Throughout Burge and Hillcrest, signs are posted above food items labeling them as vegan and gluten-free, but have found that there aren't many options for them to choose from. Jill Urban, the Director of Dining Services, has had vegetarian and vegan items on the menu for more than 15 years, but has run into a few challenges along the way.
The other challenge is coming up with menu items that will have enough appeal that people will select them so that we don't end up throwing a lot of it away.
Students hope to see a wider, healthier variety of items for them to choose from in the future. Dance Marathon 2015 is over, but that doesn't mean the work has stopped. Preparations for Dance Marathon 2016 have already begun, starting with naming the Executive Council. UI junior Dan Kolb has been named director for next year's Dance Marathon. Kolb joined Dance Marathon his freshman year and he's been hooked ever since. Kolb says that he is very honored to have gotten this position and cannot wait to help out all the families and kids. This year, Dance Marathon raised over $2 million for children with cancer. Kolb hopes to continue the success and spread Dance Marathon throughout Iowa.
The controversial statue that stood on the UI Penncrest in December resembling a KKK member is now gaining an audience at Kirkwood Community College. The artist of the statue, Professor Sirhat Tanilikar, spoke at the college for a forum titled Fear of Art, Free Speech, Controversy, and Public Space. The UI removal of Tanilikar's art raised First Amendment concerns, and the statue brought racism concerns from students and the Iowa City community. Now, several students that had a voice in Tanilikar's statue will have the opportunity to speak on race and diversity relations in Iowa City with writer and author Ta-Nehisi Coates. Coates is a national correspondent with The Atlantic and on Wednesday night will present a lecture called A Deeper Black Race in America. The event is free and begins at 7:30 p.m. at the Angler Theater.
If you're looking to take a dip in the pool this week, you're out of luck. The Big Ten Men's Swimming and Diving Championships are being held at the Campus Recreation and Wellness Center from Wednesday through Saturday. The pool will be the place to be this weekend, but that means the pool will be off limits for recreational swimming. The good news is that the gym and the basketball courts will still be open during the event. You know, and outside of swimming and diving, there have been multiple Hawkeyes gaining national attention.
That's right, Blake. There have been some Iowa wrestlers and tennis players in the spotlight. Taylor Bartz and Laura Belanda are standing by in the sports studio. Ladies?
You're right, guys. 3 different Hawkeyes receiving notoriety from the Big Ten Conference.
It was a tough loss for the Iowa Hawkeye wrestling squad over the weekend and the National Wrestling Coaches Association duels.
The Hawkeyes fell to the number 2 team in the country, Missouri, 12-18, but there was one bright spot that came out of this devastating loss. Senior Mike Evans has been named the Big Ten Conference Wrestler of the Week.
This is Evans' first time receiving the award, and he's the 5th Hawkeye to receive the award this year. The Enola, Pennsylvania native defeated 2 ranked opponents while also recording a fall over the weekend.
The Hawks have had more Big Ten wrestlers of the week than anyone else in the conference. Brandon Sorensen and Bobby Telford have both received this award twice throughout the season.
Evans and the Hawkeyes return to the mat March 7th and 8th for the Big Ten Championships in Columbus, Ohio.
The Hawkeye women's tennis team fell to the Oklahoma Sooners last Friday. Jordan Maloney was at the match and has more. Jordan?
It was a tough weekend for Iowa women's tennis as they were swept 4-0 by Oklahoma this past Friday. Despite this being their second loss in a row, with a record of 4-2, the team is feeling optimistic about the remainder of the season. Starting off the duel, the first doubles pair beat the Sooners 6-4, the only Hawkeye win of the afternoon. The duo consisted of Anastasia Remchin and Shelby Talcott, who has proven to be a dominant player this season.
She has the ability to beat really good players. I mean, she showed that. I mean, kind of week in and week out, and I think it's the consistency now that's really helped her. And
with the second and third doubles teams falling to Oklahoma, the Sooners had the lead to start the singles matches, with Talcott at first singles.
The commitment and, like the effort it takes and all of that, it's like conflicting, but at the end of the day, it's like a love-hate sport.
While Talcat found herself with her first loss of the season, a relentless Remchen forced her third match before being overcome by the Sooner Morgan Chumney. Following the freshman's lead, Katie Zordani and Morven McCluack both created third set opportunities but were unable to finish, giving Iowa no victories in the singles play. While this was their first loss at home this spring, the Hawkeyes look forward to hosting Purdue in their first Big Ten Conference duel this Saturday at the Hawkeye Tennis and Recreation Complex. This is Jordan Maloney with DITV Sports.
Thanks, Jordan. In other tennis news, University of Iowa senior Matt Hagan was announced as the Big Ten Player of the Week. This is the first time in his career that he has received this award. Hagan is the first Hawkeye tennis player to be named Player of the Week since 2011.
This achievement comes after Hagan helped the Hawks defeat Wichita State 4-2 over the weekend by beating out 39th-ranked Tin Ostajic. The win over the Shockers marks the 5th straight for the Hawkeyes and improves their overall record to 7-1.
Iowa will return to action on Friday when they host Drake at 6 p.m.
Hawkeye golfer Jessie Sidlinger earned herself a spot in the Hawkeyes record book after scoring a career-low 68 in the third round of the Westbrook Spring Invitational in Peoria, Arizona.
The sophomore's performance ties her for the second lowest 18-hole score all time. Sidlinger finished the tournament in a tie for 33rd place after carding 6 birdies and making par on all but 2 holes in the final round. Junior Amy Ime recorded the first best finish for the Hawkeyes, coming in at 22nd place, just 2 strokes away from a top 20 finish. After managing par on 13 holes in the third round and birdieing holes 13 and 18.
Iowa wrapped up their time in Arizona with a 9th place finish out of 15 teams. The Hawkeyes will have a little bit of a break before they head to St. George, Utah for the BYU Entrada Classic on March 16th through the 17th.
It was announced yesterday that sophomore Trey Dickerson will be leaving the Iowa basketball team.
Junior Anthony Clemens weighed in on Dickerson's leaving.
I mean, whenever you're in a situation like that, you don't know where your mind can take you or, where your heart can take you. So, surprised a little bit, but, I kind of seen it coming.
The Iowa Hawkeye men's basketball team will face off against border rival Illinois inside Carver Hawkeye Arena tomorrow.
That's right, Taylor. Our courtside show will be back in action to preview the contest for the Hawkeyes.
That's all we have for tonight. Hannah and Blake, back to you.
Tomorrow morning, make sure to pick up your copy of the Daily Iowan. In headlines, read in depth about that 10-cent gas tax increase that will soon affect us all.
Learn what weird export from a local Iowa farmer is exciting farmers in Canada and New Zealand.
Now, before we go, check out this crazy and scary video coming from Seoul, South Korea today.
2 people walking on a local sidewalk fell through the ground after a 10-foot deep sinkhole collapses right underneath them.
The 2 people were not seriously injured, but were taken to the hospital. This is just crazy. I can't imagine just the ground just opening up underneath you.
I'm always worried those silver manhole covers are going to fall in when I'm downtown, but not the actual ground. That's crazy.
Same.
That's all we have on tonight's edition of Daily Iowan TV. Make sure to join us tomorrow at the same time.
And stay up to date with breaking news at dailyiowan.com. Thanks for joining us and have a great night.
Can't pick up a copy of the Daily Iowan? Are you worried about how you're going to find out about the latest news in Iowa City and the University of Iowa? Well, look no further. You can download the Daily Iowan mobile app on your iPhone for the area's best news coverage. And you can also read and watch us on your iPad. You can always find current and past Daily Iowan stories at dailyiowan.com. The Daily Iowan is now on TV, online, and in your pocket. If it happens, it's news to us. Can't pick up a copy of the Daily Iowan? Are you worried about how you're going to find out about the latest news in Iowa City and the University of Iowa? Well, look no further. You can download the Daily Iowan mobile app on your iPhone for the area's best news coverage. And you can also read and watch us on your iPad. You can always find current and past Daily Iowan stories at dailyiowan.com. The Daily Iowan is now on TV, online, and in your pocket. If it happens, it's news to us.